Right, welcome back. I think you can hear me. Welcome back to Crypto Front. This is the front line where we are fighting together side by side for financial freedom. If anybody can just confirm if they can hear me loud and clear, I think we can kickstart this live stream. We are literally going to be talking about the worst of the market, and obviously we've got a very big day coming up tomorrow, and that is going to be having massive implications on the market. A lot of things happening on the same exact time. So we're going to be taking a look at where our charts are and how they are likely going to be affected by this event. So if anybody can just confirm if they can hear me, I think we can kickstart this nice and easy. So I'll be waiting for that feedback. But for the moment, let's just wait for that. No feedback here. Maybe you can just delicately tap the like button if you want to let me know that you can hear me, so that I know that I'm not talking to myself, and we are here together. We're going to be taking a look at the market. As I said, that we have got a very big day happening tomorrow, and actually we have got about two big events, and for specific altcoins, obviously there are some massive news that are going to be dropping, and I think that's really going to be changing the markets one way or the other. So maybe we can, start with the introduction here. We're taking a look at the Fed interest rate that is going to be decided tomorrow. I think tomorrow by this time we would have already known what would have happened, and I'm going to be live streaming that event as well, so that we can take a look at like live reactions of the price charts and Bitcoin, the stock market, and everything else actually. But my expectation here is that I think we're going to have a rally. And yeah, it's not going to be clear cut, because it's something that usually happens all the time, that we have got crazy volatility on that specific day, especially when the chairman starts speaking. So 30 minutes after the data is released, or the decision is released, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of volatility. The day after also usually is something that is volatile, but a little bit much more calmer. This time around, there are going to be initial jobless claims, so that can actually also lead the market to be volatile, because everything is dependent on what the Fed is going to be doing. Are they going to be cutting rates? And yeah, there is also another thing that is happening right there, which is that inflation is going down a little bit, and then there are also fears of a recession. I think those are the things that the Fed actually needs, and the market, because of that reason, I think there is already pricing that maybe for the coming Fed meeting, I think right around June, there can be a drop in terms of like interest rates. So we'll see what eventually happens tomorrow, but one thing for sure is that it's going to be very much volatile. But I mean, how can we prepare for such an event? Here I will show you what the Bitcoin price is actually telling us at this moment, and it's not very complicated. So you see, we have got the horizontal support that we have had for quite some time, and yeah, we haven't back tested it yet, as you can see right here. And I think that, in the thick of the volatility, it's also very much possible that the Bitcoin price goes back and touches right around $91,000 thereabout. And then from there, I think it can also start moving, from that support, moving towards the upside. One other thing that really has me a little bit much more confident on this analysis is that if we take a look at the, Bitcoin CME gap, let me show you that real fast. And you will realize that we have got two gaps actually, one towards the upside, then we've got another one towards the downside. So if I may just zoom this in nice and easy, you're gonna realize that, look, we have got a gap right around this level here. Let me show you that clearly so that you don't have any questions left. We have got this part here, which is a gap, I would say, right around $91,000, and of course also the upper part is right around $93,000. I think we are already beginning to feel the upper part right there, but there is still a gap towards 91,000 in terms of the Bitcoin price. And what we have seen time and again is that these gaps, they usually get filled, right? So the most likely thing to happen is that the Bitcoin price drops one more time to the lows around $91,000, fills in the gap, and probably starts pushing towards the upside. Why do I also say that? Is also because we have got another CME gap, on top. I think you can also see it right here. Let me just show that nice and easy, which is right around, I would say here, $97,000 to $97,500. So we've got two major gaps that needs to be filled, And with an event like this coming up tomorrow, I think, volatility both ways can actually manage to close the gaps. And then from there, we have got what I would call neutral price action. So I think that's where we are with the Bitcoin price. And of course, you may be wondering, where is your altcoin going to be in this whole situation? I think it's just going to be also a little bit of chaos, but we're going to take a look at all these individual altcoins and try to see what are the levels where we can actually be looking to buy, and the other different things. So I think, yeah, massive volatility coming in here for Bitcoin because of the Fed event. And then of course we also wanted to mention the event that Ethereum is having. There's going to be a massive upgrade from Ethereum, and it's very interesting where this is coming from, because it's at the ultimate bottom against the Bitcoin price chart, and then the other upgrade that we saw was at the very top against the Bitcoin price as well. So maybe this is something that can give a lifeline for Ethereum. We'll see. Obviously, these things, immediate short term, they may not show results, but in the longer run they will show results, just like we saw from the upgrade from which maybe we can say a downgrade from proof of work to proof of stake. I think this one too may also long term show that there is a little bit of more life that is given into Ethereum, because what we want to see for most of our altcoins actually is a healthy Ethereum. A healthy Ethereum is also a healthier chart here on the altcoins that we all hold, different number of them. So we're going to be taking a look at those ones, but maybe before we get there, I will take a little bit of a breather, and then we can start taking a look at some other altcoins, including JASMY, XRP. We'll take a look at HBAR, we'll take a look at ZEBEC, and then we'll take a look at TELCOIN, we'll take a look at Alchemy Pay, we'll take a look at everything. We're going to take a look at Onyx Coin as well. So yeah. By the way, we're going to do a Q&A at the end of the analysis of every other altcoin that we're going to talk about. I'll talk about the ones that we usually talk about on the channel for the most part, ICP, JASMY, and stuff like that. And at the end, if you have got a chart that we want us to take a look at, we're going to be doing that very much quickly. So let's start with the JASMY price. I don't think that there is much that has happened with the price, but I'll show you where exactly I'm looking to buy the price, but I'll just spoil the whole thing for you. I'm not bearish on JASMY yet, because I think that the volatility that we are seeing is just because of the kind of events that we have in the market at the moment. So yeah, this is the daily chart here on JASMY, and I don't know why it's not showing my support and resistance, but you can already see that there was a clear support / resistance right there for JASMY, and apparently it looks like JASMY is dropping support, but I wouldn't consider this whole thing. I think this is the smoke screen, in my humble opinion. I think actually the most important support is with the 50 daily moving average, which I'll show you in a minute, which is something that has held the price time and again. So now we are approaching the 50 daily moving average, and again, as I'm expecting a lot of volatility tomorrow, I think that I can expect to set my buy orders right around this moving average. So currently, the moving average is around 1.37 cents. So 1.4 cents, 1.37 cents, 1.36 cents is definitely a buy for me. Should the price go a little bit lower than that, 1.3 cents basically is also something that I'm going to be taking a look at. But the thesis here is that the 50 daily moving average has been the one to give huge pumps here for JASMY, especially if it's successful back tested, just like we were seeing right in this moment here. Regulars on the channel, you've already heard about this information time and again, so I won't spend much time repeating this, but this is the most important thing that I'm looking forward to here for JASMY. I know that at some point there is a very big chance that the price will come back and test that 50 daily moving average right around 1.3 cents, 1.35 cents, 1.37 cents, whatever the case may be. I'm going to be setting buy orders, and of course adding to my long position. I was actually talking to Patreon members a little bit, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, so that's the game plan here for JASMY, buying that 50 daily moving average and see how far we go. However, I mean, if we see successive daily candles below that 50 daily moving average, that is not going to be instilling a lot of confidence for me, because it tells me that either it's more sideways price action, or probably we're going to be going to the downside. So I'm looking to buy JASMY here tomorrow. with the volatility, and I think it's something that I really appreciate. But I'm already celebrating, but maybe it's too early for that. But I just wanted you to know that I'm still bullish on JASMY. I'm not looking at this, horizontal support / resistance here, because I just think that this thing is going to be, lying to a lot of people. So one indicator that is stayed true time and again is this 50-day moving average. So we'll see how we're going to be interacting with that tomorrow. Moving on to the next one, let's just go ahead and take another breather. But I think we're going to be talking about TELCOIN, which is also one that has been, relatively stable ever since the beginning of last week. But again, with the events that we have tomorrow, I'm expecting great price action to start showing up right there as well. Alright, so with TELCOIN, what we are seeing is that, of course, it managed to break the downtrend here. I think that's old news. We don't want to be hearing about that anymore. But I think that there is also something interesting happening in there, which I've said time and again. Look, it appears that the chart is forming a bullish reversal pattern, which is an inverse head and shoulders pattern. As we can say that this is one shoulder, this is the head, and then of course we are also looking at the formation of the other shoulder in here. What really would confirm this as a full head and shoulders pattern is if the price comes back here and breaks above, I would say, let's just go ahead and measure that nice and easy. If the price comes back and breaks maybe 0.00066 thereabout, then we can say we have a full and complete inverse head and shoulders pattern. However, I'm not going to be waiting for that specifically, because if I take this chart to the 4-hourly time frame, I'm seeing something that is very common with bottoms, and I'm going to show you charts obviously as the live stream progresses. But this, what we are seeing here on TELCOIN, is a very common bottoming structure where you have also something like an inverse head and shoulders pattern in here. Then slowly but surely you start working your way towards the upside. So right now, I think tomorrow, once again, I'm expecting a little bit of volatility, price towards the downside, price towards the upside. So towards the downside, I'm going to be looking to buy a specific price of 0.00048, I would guess, here for TELCOIN as one of my support levels. And then of course I'm also going to be adding to my long position. So this whole area here is a buy for me, because I'm in the camp that this here is a bullish structure, and of course it will pan out to be something that tends the price to push towards the upside. But let me just go ahead and fix this. I don't know what really actually happened right there, but let's fix it. Okay, so I was saying that this is an interesting bottoming structure, especially if we put it on a 4-hourly time frame. It's something that we have seen time and again. So I'm expecting the price to push towards the upside, immediate short term, completing the inverse head and shoulders pattern. And then of course we want to be revisiting the top part here around 1.3 cents. Once we start clearing those levels, we're beginning to look at the bigger picture of the wake of accumulation pattern. I think I'll show you that on the KuCoin chart, because this maxi chart, I don't think it has it actually. So let's go ahead and see if we can zoom in that nice and easy. Let's see if we can find it. Still saved. Apparently somebody deleted it, but it is what it is. I think you can still see this wake of accumulation pattern, and it's something that is very much strong, happening over, I would say here, a period of about 3 years. So it's something that is legit in my opinion. That's where we are with TELCOIN, and the next one that we want to cover is XRP, and see how the big one is doing right there. Yeah, so I mean, XRP, just like TELCOIN, has got a same exact structure here, and I think I'm gonna say the same thing with HBAR as well. So I was pulling out my Fibonacci retracement tools this morning, trying to see where I can place some buys with the volatility that I'm expecting between today and tomorrow here for XRP. and I was thinking that maybe, just maybe, I can set another buy order at $2, maybe 1.98 cents to be more specific, and another one which is like around $1.90. If it is to happen, then I mean, congratulations, it happens for me. That will be something like a 9-8% drop, and it's something that is also very possible, considering that we can also just be coming to backtest this, you know, weeks towards the downside here for XRP. So this is where I'm actually going to be looking to buy more, starting from $2. If it happens, I think I'm going to consider myself to be lucky, honestly. And then also something like $1.90 is also a level that I'm willing to buy there, and hopefully these orders, they get filled. Why? Because I'm still very much bullish here on XRP, and I'm expecting higher price targets here. So long term, I think $5.20 is my, you know, my initial selling point with the XRP that I was buying to right around 30 cents, 50 cents, whatever the case may be. $5.20 is definitely an area I'm looking to offload some. And then of course, you know, around $8 is also another sell point for me. If it happens, right, the $18.60 is also another area that I'm looking to buy. But I think the $5.20 and the $8 is something that I think is very likely here for XRP. So immediate short term, I'm also looking at this. It's also a bottoming structure, just like what I said with Telcoin. But you know, we can have a little bit of back testing that can happen right around that $1.90, $1.94, whatever the case may be. I'm adding more to my long position, and I'm also adding to my bag here on XRP, expecting the price to continue pushing towards the upside once again. When it actually comes to HBAR, I like to take a look at the market cap because it actually, you know, speaks volumes actually. So if we take a look at it on the 1 weekly time frame, you realize that the chart looks similar, but it's not really the same with the price chart. Now the market cap is looking to push higher and even set a new all-time high compared to the one that we were having back in December. And this again is a bottoming structure. The same thing that we say with XRP, the same thing that we say with Telcoin applies here for HBAR as well. But one thing that I like about this one specifically is that it has managed to backtest the previous resistance here around March, and then now it's looking to continue to push towards the upside. I think coins like these ones are stronger than everything else in the market, and because they are stronger, what is going to likely continue to happen is that they continue outperforming the rest of the market. And that's why I'm in HBAR, that's why I'm in XRP, because these ones so far, they have actually done well against the rest of the market. And the more likely thing is that they continue to outperform everything, because the ones that are doing bad are just heading towards the downside once again. So yeah, HBAR is one that I see and I look at it in a bullish manner, and I think it's just going to do just as fine, even better than XRP in my humble opinion. The next one that I want to take a look at is Onyx Coin XCN, because this one, it's crazy actually. I mean, the way it moves is it just takes everybody off guard, right? So if it's moving towards the upside, it just goes up and then starts dropping towards the downside. If it's going down, it just goes down and quickly recovers. So it's really something that is very hard to trade, and I think it's a good hold if somebody just decides to hold it, but buying and selling it is the worst thing ever on planet Earth. So what I've been saying over the last few days is that, look, I anticipate this thing to just chill out in the zone here, since we have had a very big crash, right? That is usually characterized by a retracement that happens in here. Then of course you have somewhat of a just hanging in here that we have seen a lot with altcoins like this, and then once again it starts pushing towards the upside. And I think whenever this is going to be happening, is again it will take everybody by surprise, just like it was doing right here. Then all of a sudden it starts going to pushing one more time towards the upside. So right now I'm not expecting anything much from XRP, rather than more like sideways action here. But of course, I'm saying sideways action here. There are days we're going to be seeing the price really just up by 30% or 40% or 50% for that matter. It will do that. Then the next few days, again, you know, drop slowly but surely, maybe another 20%. Then of course, you're pushing towards the upside once again. It's a roller coaster actually with XCN on XCoin. But the overall thing is that it's still bullish and it's still pushing towards the upside. So over the coming few weeks, I'm expecting it just to hang in there and try to do some kind of accumulation right there, wrong footing everybody who wants to long or short, and then eventually break out of that range. So the range is slowly but surely just developing. I think we are a little bit early in the range. We don't have much to say about it. I mean, I can come here and try to say, okay, look, support is being broken right here, but honestly speaking, this really doesn't mean much. I mean, we don't even have enough touch points here to say that. So I think the range has just begun, and I'm going to be expecting much more sideways action here. As I said, there are going to be days when we're going to be pushing 40%, 30%. And then all of a sudden, you start dropping again, you push another 70%. So I think, yeah, a rapid price action is more likely here for XCN, but overall, I think more like sideways action going on. But I would say that, you know, as long as the rest of the market is bullish, I don't expect XCN to underperform, right? However, if the rest of the market now all of a sudden turns bearish, yeah, okay, we can also expect more like bearish price action here for XCN. But for now, I think it's just checking along really nicely with the rest of the market, and I'll be anticipating more sideways action high to happen here, and of course eventually a stronger push towards the upside, which I didn't catch that nice, and it's okay. Now it's being represented well. Let me also just do it like this one here. So yeah, this is what I'm anticipating for XCN on XCoin, and we'll take a look at the next one, which is ZEBEC. So yesterday on ZEBEC, I was coming up with an update saying that, look, I think we have taken a look at the RSIs, and so far so good. They have actually directed us the right way here for ZEBEC, and congratulations to everybody who was paying attention during this moment, because at that point, I mean, ZEBEC has actually managed to rise up more than 200%, and that's something that is great. Now, what I'm anticipating for ZEBEC to do is to cool off a little bit, right? Just to cool off and not do much, as also the market, you know, kinds of tries to find a decision in here. So what I'm looking at here, maybe I can just go ahead and, you know, clear everything so we can start afresh, and we can analyze the RSI together and realize that, look, the RSI usually is turning when it's in the overbought territory, just as we are seeing here, also turning the price, just as you saw here, just also saw here, also turning the price toward the downside. So yeah, with where we are in the market, we are realizing that we have got somewhat of a little bit of a resistance towards the top here. This doesn't mean that the resistance will never be broken, but what is going to be happening tomorrow and the day after, just, you know, according to the rest of the market, will also affect the ZEBEC price. There are just two paths that thing can take here, which will lead to the same thing eventually, if I'm just going to be honest with you, that, you know, the general trend of this chart is to push towards the upside. So if I may just draw that nice and easy as well, I can say that, okay, we can either break this tomorrow or the days that follow, and at some point in the future have a back test to confirm that, okay, this is now going to be turned into a support level and push towards the upside. So this is one scenario that I see. Then of course I'm expecting also a scenario in which, if we follow what the RSI has been doing here, we have you know, somewhat of a rejection that happens very soon, right, from that price, and we have the price coming down just a little bit much more here. Let me just go ahead and indicate that, probably towards 0.00015, and then from there starts pushing again towards the upside, eventually pushing the price towards, you know, price discovery, I would say, because we don't have much resistance left on the left side of the chart here, because the chart is new And once it starts clearing some of this resistance here, there isn't much to stand in the way, and it's going to be growth, and the sky is the limit at the end of the day. So there is a decision that has to be made here. At this point, I'm just not sure which one is which, because we just have a major event coming up tomorrow. But I'll be anticipating that if the resistance is broken right here, at some point in time, we'll be expecting a back test around where the price is sitting at this point. And of course, if we get a rejection, yeah, maybe collect more liquidity right around where there was previous resistance there, turn this thing into a support level, and we continue pushing towards the upside. Now, the way you're looking at it, the whole thing is ending, at the same point. It's still going to be pushing towards the upside. Maybe one case is bullish immediate short term, and the other one is bearish immediate short term, but long term, everything is still pointing up for me here, at least for ZEBEC. And yeah, I'm in, and I'm in it forever. Maybe not forever. When I make some money, I'm going to be going out, obviously. But yeah, the chart is looking bullish at this point. I think we have got one left. I think that's ACH, Alchemy Pay. We're going to be covering that, and we'll see if we've got any other altcoin that you want us to take a look at in the chat box, and then we can discuss that nice and easy. Yeah, so here with Alchemy Pay, what we are saying is that we have got this fantastic uptrend that has held true for a very long time, ever since 2023. So this is, an upward sloping support, and that's great. At the top, we've got an all-time resistance. When I say all-time, I mean a multi-year resistance that I think eventually is going to be broken this time around. And once the price does break that support, it's just going to be too good in terms of like the price action. I'm already lining up a massive trade here on Alchemy Pay, setting funds aside, because I'll never miss that one. That's going to be a huge breakout, right? But let me show you what is happening here immediate short term. I think that the analysis that we gave on TELCOIN also really is the same thing here, that you see that there is some resistance on the top here, and I think the chart is going to try to come back and collect a little bit much more of liquidity towards the zone here. Maybe not deep as far, but I would anticipate that with the volatility that we can see tomorrow, maybe, just maybe, even a price of like 2.2 cents, 2.1 cents is something that is possible. And I'll be waiting to set in my buy orders right there and scoop it in if the price happens to come in. Of course, if I miss it, I'm going to be trying to trade the break of this resistance. I would say right around, 3 cents thereabout, looking at 5.4 cents. And then, of course, from there, we're looking at a massive breakout that I'll show you probably on another day on the all-time. The market cap of Alchemy Pay is looking so good, man. It's really looking so good. It's very different from this price action that you see. That one actually is squeezing the price into an apex, and it looks like, yeah, one way or the other, there's something that is going to break there. And my side that I'm picking is that it's going to be breaking towards the upside. We'll see what eventually happens, but I'll show you that maybe in a video tomorrow, or maybe the live stream that we're going to be doing whilst we're waiting for the chairman to come out and say a few things right there. Actually, I think that we are done with the ones that we wanted to cover. Now we can go into Q&A, and you guys, if you've got any chart that you want us to cover or take a look at, we can do that. One that has actually been hot of late is this Veracity price chart, and yeah, it even took me also by surprise, but it has done really well. Of course, the problem is that it has been heated also very much badly. So even if it's up, 40%, 50%, people have still been very much beaten here in terms of like the price action. Hopefully it's something that really remains sustainable, because anybody who has purchased into this over the last maybe few years or something like that is still down about minus 74%. So hopefully this thing is still sustained. I really don't want to run celebrate too quickly here, because I know the backdrop of the story, right? This is a chart that was doing really well until they introduced something that the community didn't like too much, and of course it has led to bad price action like this. So let's see if you've got anything that you want us to take a look at. If still a chance. Well, just as I said, I'm expecting it to go a little bit more sideways. I don't know where the support is for XC, and I don't know where the resistance is, but one thing that I am almost certain about is that it's going to continue going sideways. So as the range continues to develop right there on XCN, I think we'd have to see which one is a support and which one is a resistance. I think that's what I can say at this point. Maybe I can pull the chart here and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, so this is the Onyx coin chart, and I'm saying that, look here, I don't know where the support is. I don't have enough data points, but as the range maybe continues to develop in here, yeah, maybe we can start to see, okay, there is a support maybe around this level here, there is a resistance there, and yeah, maybe we can make a better educated guess as to say that, okay, this is a moment to buy, or this is a moment to sell. For now, we don't have any of that, in my humble opinion. Let's see if we've got any other thing. Well, probably we don't have much happening today in terms of like the questions and the answers. So I'm gonna just wrap it up here, and I will see you tomorrow when we hold the live stream for the chairman of the Fed, Jerome Powell, and see and hear what he says about the market. So thank you so much for watching the video, and take good care of yourselves. Bye bye.